Hi, everybody. It's true. I live in Toronto now, but I actually grew up right here in Gilead. I know we didn't read it in middle school, but it's on TV now, right? Okay. Uh, sorry. My Canadian friends always used to ask me, especially comics, Dan, why would you leave sunny Southern California, home of the entertainment industry, to move north of the wall? And they stopped about the same time that stopped being a Game of Thrones joke. Now they just give me a kind of knowing glance and a pat on the shoulder. So I'm an immigrant in Canada, which I tell you not for entertainment value, but just so that you know when I say I'm trying to date more, you know it comes with all the urgency of a temporary visa. I use Tinder, which I like. I think swiping is fun. It's like a little game you get to play with your self-esteem. It's good. Has anybody ever come across, though, a match that was so attractive you kind of knew it had to be a trick? This happened to me recently. I matched with a guy and immediately three red flags went off in my brain. Red flag number one, as I told you, he was just too attractive. Long blonde hair, blue eyes, looked like Leo DiCaprio circa Titanic. You know, the kind of guy you'd really like to steam up a Model T with. Meanwhile, red flag number two, he was 18. And now look, I like younger guys, which I don't apologize for. There is something so attractive about someone who's so young, they still think life's gonna work out. That's really hot, guys. And they don't have the life experience to know that dating a 35-year-old unemployed comedian is a bad decision, so it's great. It works out really well. But 18 is like half my age, and for half your age, you need money. Maybe not private island suspicious suicide money, but you need money, which I don't have. Red flag number three was the text of his profile, which just read, "Into social justice," and eggplant emoji, which led me to think perhaps he is not as woke as he thinks he is, because what is the eggplant emoji but the literal tool of the patriarchy? It's a dick joke, guys. So, against my better judgment, I send him a message, and it's very exciting because he immediately responds back to me, which I think is totally thrilling until I read what he has written, which is, "Why are there Japanese characters on your profile?" All caps. So just so you guys know, I spent about 5 years studying Japanese because anime porn loses something in translation. Yoshihara-san, go nasai. But I told him, well, isn't using a language a good way of meeting other people who speak that language? And he said to me, well, are you Japanese? Do you speak Japanese? I said, well, I speak a little bit. And blonde-haired, blue-eyed Leo responds to me, well, I am Japanese, and I find it offensive. Okay, so I asked him, is there something wrong with what I've written? Which, just so you guys know, is a very clever reference to a classical Chinese philosopher because I have a very expensive education and nowhere else to show it off. And he says to me, it doesn't matter what you wrote, at which point I know he can't read Japanese. It's cultural appropriation, and it's offensive. So I take a step back, check my privilege, and I respond to him, well, I'm half Italian, and I don't mind you using the Roman alphabet. At which point he blocks me, which is really distressing because there is nothing worse you can do to a white person on the internet than accuse them of cultural appropriation and then just leave them to stew in white guilt. So I'm just sitting there in my bed in the dark at 3 a.m, trying to figure out what's going on here. Clearly, he's making a kind of genetic claim on language because a Japanese person married into his large Norwegian family sometime in the late 19th century. And he's just pleased as punch that now he gets to call himself a person of color, even if that color is eggshell. But I got to thinking, don't languages belong to everybody who's willing to put in all the effort and thousands of hours to learn them? But, that said, little did he know, I actually do possess sufficient quantities of Japanese DNA to speak Japanese. It's just all soaked into my mattress. Thanks very much, guys. I've been Dan Donnelly. Have a good night.